Donald Trump saying he would like to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un this year. The US president was meeting his South Korean counterpart, Lee Jae-myung, at the White House. As you can see, he flattered the US president, saying he is the only person who can improve relations on the Korean peninsula. Mrs. Trump went on to speak in glowing terms about the North Korean dictator.
I have a very good relationship. I understand him. I spent a lot of free time with him talking about things that we probably aren't supposed to talk about. And, I get along with him really well. I think he has a country of great potential, tremendous potential.
Is it possible you meet him this year or maybe next year?
Well, I'm meeting a lot of people. I mean, it's hard to say that, but I'd like to meet him this year.
Earlier, President Trump said Chicago could be the next city targeted in what his administration has called a crackdown on crime. Mr. Trump says Chicago is a disaster and pushed back on critics of his federal takeover of Washington, D.C. police.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
Mr. Trump signed a flurry of executive orders, including one that will allow the Pentagon to form specialized units specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. To the White House, CNN's chief national affairs correspondent, Jeff Selney. What of all of that really grabbed your attention today, Jeff?
Well, Max, certainly law and order and crime is a focus of President Trump, hoping to change the subject from some other matters. But again, signing the executive orders to effectively replicate in some cities across the United States the National Guard, a force that is here in Washington. But of course, cities and other states are set up different. The president has different legalities of where he can send troops and the like. And crime, of course, has been down in Washington. The president is taking some credit for that, but it has been down for several months and a couple years leading into this. However, there is no doubt there is violent crime in the nation's capital. So the president's still drawing an attention onto that by signing a series of executive orders. But it was one where he directed his defense secretary to create specialized units that could be sent across the country in moments of public disorder. Well, of course, the National Guard can always be sent in moments of disorder. The question of what does that look like exactly? They're not intended to be law enforcement officials. It's intended to be for emergencies and natural disasters and the like. So the president clearly trying to draw a focus on crime and law and order when he does not have many answers for other things. Most importantly, he was asked today, what about that meeting between Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky? The president had very little to say on that because, as we know, the Kremlin has very little interest in setting up that meeting.
It does seem so. Also want to play you this moment where he talked about renaming the Department of Defense.
Pete Hegseth has been incredible with the, as I call it, the Department of War. You know, we call it the Department of Defense, but between us, I think we're going to change the name. You want to know the truth? I think we're going to have some information on that maybe soon. But I think because, Department of Defense, we won the World War I, World War II. It was called the Department of War. And to me, that's really what it is.
What did you make of that, Jeff? Because, he's talked about being a president of peace. You'd imagine him calling it the Department of Peace as opposed to war. I don't know. What did you make of it?
Look, he clearly has seized upon this. It's something that has been discussed in recent months. In fact, his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, raised it for the first time in April. But you're right. President Trump obviously campaigned and talked extensively about trying to end conflicts. But the whole reason the Department of War was changed to the Department of Defense back during shortly after the Second World War is because it's a civilian agency. It is designed to do many more strategic things than simply war. So that's why it was changed. So unclear if that would need an act of Congress to actually change the name. We believe it would. Unclear also if he's serious about this or if it's simply one more example of trying to change the subject from other matters that are a bit more pressing.